Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whatever time it is. I hope you are having a good one. Welcome back to House Flipper 2 with Rash Decision. If you enjoy this type of content, please leave me a like, subscribe, and maybe even a comment to let me know. Enjoy the video. My beautiful audience, welcome back to another mod review Monday with House Flipper 2, and we are looking at It Came From the 70s by Dbean. I saw this one, I immediately picked it up. One of the things I always tell people is that if you ever want to get my attention and have my respect, make me laugh. And this one made a little bit of a gag at the expense of shag carpeting because some say that the last owner sank into the carpeting and never returned. That's very real. If you've ever seen shag carpeting, like real shag carpeting, you know that it's very thick, it's very fluffy. It went out of style because it was extremely difficult to keep clean. It was notoriously difficult to keep clean. And they've turned that into the entire idea of like this flipper house, where the idea is to flip the house. To just so we're gonna see if there's a job involved, because this is extremely 70s. I want to see this house so badly right now because this seems so 70s right here. I did not grow up in the 70s. I'm not that old. I grew up in the 90s, but I did go with my father, grandfather, uncles, etc. to purchase quite a few 70s mobile homes. So I've actually been in a lot of these style of houses. And yeah, absolutely. Like the big bright green and like the off-color peach. This is absolutely right at home in places like this. I see there's a little bit here that you may have missed, but that's going to be part of the flip. So we'll see if there's a job involved here, if it's completely freeform. I really hope it's freeform because if it is, and this looks really good, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this episode of Mod Review Monday to walk through the house, kind of talk about it a little bit, and then where'd it go? There it is, 70s by Denise. So it's no longer Dbean, it is now Denise. There we go. I'm gonna walk through the house in this episode, and if I really like it and it's fully freeform, doesn't have a job involved, I will next Monday show you the final product of what I've done with it. So let's go ahead and go in. Did you know the more expensive a house is, the more you can earn by flipping it? That is true. Flipping is percentage based, at least in most cases. So I'm seeing already the pale green, the green out here. Green was a really popular color, especially in housing and architecture. Just the same as violet, royal purple, was seen as a color of royalty. Actually, I see a tent over there. I wonder what's over there. Yeah, it looks like a little pavilion area. Cool. Anyway, just as in the Middle Ages, purple and royal purple, royal blue, things of that nature were seen as colors of royalty because of how difficult they were to make. Colors like green and yellow, and I know blue is one of them that kind of stayed with for a long, long time. Pigments that were difficult to make that suddenly became easy to make, or had chemical products that came out that made them cheap, became very popular very quickly during the 50s through the 70s. And a large part of that is that during the 50s through the 70s, if you've ever paid a lot of attention, it looks like there's no job here. I'm already seeing there's no job here. So this is really good. I'm seeing a lot of stuff out here, like the paint cans with the crud attached to them. Yeah, that's exactly what you would see. Or maybe maybe those are pots. I'm not quite sure just yet. Maybe pots. I might be looking at it differently. But yeah, during the 50s through the 70s, you'll often hear a lot of talk about how there was a lot of modern conveniences coming out all at the same time after the 40s, especially after World War II. And a large part of that just has to do with what you might consider a second industrialization age. It's kind of like the second coming of the Industrial Revolution, with the advent of the baby boomer generation, when the silent generation is kind of going out, and the generations before are aging very quickly, and then the baby boomer generation is coming in, making a lot of necessity for, or creating, I'm sorry, a lot of necessity for advancement, and they're also being the economy as well as the just the after war jubilation, I guess is the best way to put it. One of my favorite documentaries of all time is by a channel called Ahoy. I'll put a link in the description just in case you're really interested in this. But it's my favorite documentary of all time. Absolute kudos to him. It's called How the Cold War Shaped Video Games. It's an absolutely fascinating watch, and he says it absolutely correctly in that documentary, in that video series. He says that it was especially in the late '60s when we're talking about the space race with Russia. He says that the U.S. was festooned with more modern conveniences than ever, and that really is the case. Because no longer are you talking about like milk deliveries, or talking about having to buy ice for your refrigerator or ice box, as it was called. You don't have to worry about, like I've mentioned before, the vents above the doors where you have to let air pass between rooms. You don't have to worry about those. You don't have to worry about dumbwaiters. A lot of modern conveniences that went into the home, especially, were really, really prevalent in the 50s and 60s. And then as you go into the 70s, a lot of them became affordable, really affordable, and especially because the baby boomer generation started buying houses in the 70s, and that's why a lot of that all kind of culminated all at once. Culminated. I misspoke. I'm not quite sure what I was trying to go for there. I think I was trying to combine culminated and something else. Culminated. I'm not sure where that came from. I'm sorry, but anyway. So yeah, what I'm seeing here is absolutely what I would expect walking into a house that came straight out of the 70s. This definitely looks like a house that was abandoned at one point. Maybe the prior owner passed away and it just kind of sat vacant. And I'm seeing, like, there's a lot of little subtle things here and there that kind of allude to that. The black and white wedding photo here kind of alluding to that sort of idea. There's a lot of low tech items that are kind of strewn throughout the house. A lot of that that has the CRT TV instead of the options that are in the game for flat screens. Newspapers everywhere. Got the rocking chair, the old school 70s style couch. I mean, I'm looking for where's the plastic covering, right? I am pretty sure that I know exactly what this tablecloth smells like, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. This entire house, I guarantee you, smells like mothballs on fire. Guarantee it. All right, so here in the kitchen, I do like this little piece right here. It kind of has this rounded piece that kind of gives this effect of being much more lavish than it really is. And that was a lot of what the 70s was about. If you ever go look into a Urban Explorer series, try to find one where someone is going into like a 70s mansion, and you'll really see a lot of this styling really pop, because people actually that had money to really make all of this work together properly and actually do it in a pretty decent taste, had some crazy ideas about what it should look like. Yeah, holy crap. Yeah, look in here. So I did notice outside, this is a split level. So there's a spot that goes up right there. Looks like there is yeah, no, it looks like this is all just dead space over in here. So that's probably just like attic space beyond here if I had to guess. But yeah, this is a split level. So we have the upper level here, mid level here, and then the lower level down here. Split levels, I'm not going to say were really popular by any means. What? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a little bit more window there. But let me actually go outside. Let me before I pass judgment on there being such a small window there, let me go outside, see how much room there actually is. Yeah, there's not much room at all. Okay, you know what? I feel it. I'm okay with it. I almost passed judgment and it wasn't warranted, so I'm glad I looked. But absolutely got a nice little den down here. This is exactly what you would find in the 70s, a large portion of house design was meant to spark conversation rather than just be decorative for aesthetic purpose. So when you're talking about like pictures like this above the TV, that picture would be put there to spark a conversation between the people that you brought into your home to just sit and have a chat with. Tables like this, where you have everyone kind of facing each other on this really small table, this was also really common to kind of keep the conversation small and intertwined. You would come down here, and there was one time I found a house plan from the 70s that really caught my attention. It had in the center of the living room, like it had this giant living room, like we're talking somewhere in the range of like 30 by 40. Like you could fit an entire house just in this living room. And in the center of this living room, there was like this recessed area. There was like this circular recessed area in the floor that had this built-in round bench going all the way through it. And it was called the conversation pit. And I thought to myself, every time I looked back at it when I found it, that someone's going to break their ankle, their shin, their knee, something getting down into that thing. Absolutely. But it just kind of goes to show, like, especially this, where you have this picture of a lumberjack sitting up over this fireplace. You bring people down in here, and you got this typewriter over here. You bring people down in here to play, you know, like Scrabble, I think is what it's called. Yeah, it's just Scrabble. And you would bring people down in here, and it would be just a conversation piece. It would be something to get people started talking. And that's really the entire purpose of it. And I see that there's something else in there, maybe a bathroom. Let me go ahead and pick this up so I can open this door. Oh, no, I was just seeing that through there, and I thought there was like tile and everything else in here. Nope, looks like it's just a small storage closet. Kind of same thing I've done before. Can't really knock it too awful much. And then here is the bathroom, and holy crap, I can't tell if the walls are yellow or if it's just covered in piss. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I don't really care at this point because I've said it, but huh? All right, let's go upstairs. Yeah, this is a very small house. This is a very, very small house, but it's okay. So this one was the one that we saw in the screenshot, and this was also the one that I looked into. I think there's just nothing but attic space behind here. Yeah, it goes all the way to the edge, and I'm thinking this over here is just blank space, is what it seems like. Be a great place to like hide a what do you call it? A water heater. All right. Got a little figurine over here. So this, if we're talking about the child of a baby boomer, which I'm assuming that's what's going on here, because as we go through the years, a baby boomer would have been the original owner of a 70s style house. And then, or at least an early baby boomer. I will put that out there. And then the children of a baby boomer would be generally around millennial, or possibly a little bit earlier, maybe like late Gen X, something like that. So we're talking about somebody who grew up in the 90s with a room like this. I pity them. Anyway. And then, oh, good Lord, yes, this was the master bedroom that had the holy crap level. Yeah, this wallpaper and this bed sheet right here, this is exactly what I would expect to find in a house like this. Absolutely. Wonderful job. Excellent job. I cannot overstate how pleased I am with how on point the styling of this house is. Absolutely. And of course, we just said this was another bathroom. And that's just a closet. So yeah, I got the den down here. Or I guess I can't really... The terms for den and living room have kind of swapped places like a little bit over the years. So sometimes it's really hard to tell what it was intended as far as terminology. I'm going to say it was a den. I'm going to say it is a den. And then up here, I'm going to say this was the living room because it has the TV. A den generally doesn't have a TV. Generally. I'm going to say that generally doesn't have a TV. Or at least an entertainment center, anything that can take that a focus away from your guests. And then, of course, yeah, the only thing is the weird fireplace here that doesn't exist upstairs. Because it should go like right up through here. But it doesn't. Let's actually look outside and see if there's some continuity to that little bit of a flue. Let's see, and there is not. There is no. What happened there? Oh, the blind for the bathroom in here. Yeah, there we go. I can just do like that. It'll just open it up a little bit more. All right. Yeah, I can't overstate how pleased I am with how on point this is for 70s style. Absolutely. I can absolutely see a lot of improvement that could be made here. Mostly just because the wood paneling is very outdated. This style of wood paneling is usually these days, I've said in a couple of videos, especially the houseboat video, usually you would stop like maybe halfway with a little bit of chair molding and a floor molding and call it shiplap, and then put something else going up to the top. And of course, so I noticed I do have a little bit of a strip going across the top to act like ceiling molding. Developers, if you're watching this, please, we need ceiling molding like pronto, as quickly as possible, please. Yeah, there's ways you can get around it. I've seen what people do. I've thought about doing it myself a couple of times, but this one is probably the most. This one's the most agreeable. That's what I'm going to say. That's the word I'm going to use. I like this one because it's very agreeable. I like I like a lot of things about this house. There's a lot of effort that went into making this house just right. Like I will tell you, this wasn't built in a weekend. This was a property that was put together over a very long period, getting everything exactly where it needed to be. One of the things I want to point out is, unlike a lot of the other maps that I've looked at in mods, as well as especially the one with the really tall ceilings that I did a couple of weeks ago, one of the big things I noticed is that trash is where it needs to be. It's not just like completely strewn all the way through the house with the largest scatter brush we could find. No, it's actually placed where it would be, or where it would logically be if we were to find this house as it is. And this is actually kind of how a lot of those mobile homes that I went into with my father, we ended up scrapping them. So we ended up tearing them apart. But I remember the smell. I remember what it looked like, the peeling wallpaper, the weird wall paneling, a lot of furniture that didn't really make a lot of sense in their context. Like they were put there specifically because they didn't make sense in context. Like this right here has this crazy intricate design and then nothing else does. It's like it's there only to be only to just have its presence be known. Like it's the only purpose it was there for. So yeah, we're talking about. I think I'm on point. I think I'm on point with saying that this was intended to be someone who maybe like passed away, like an older generation, and the sons, daughters, grandsons, granddaughters, etc. Just put the house up on the market because they didn't want to deal with it themselves. And you know what? That's honestly how I would have handled a house like this if it just came into my name. I wouldn't be worried about messing with it. I probably would have put it up on auction myself. Houses like this kind of need to be refreshed. There's not really a whole lot that they're offering this neighborhood anymore. Especially when you look like across the street and you see like these really nice, more modern style European houses. And I know they're European. I'm playing in this in the U.S. I know this is a European-made game, so I kind of give credit where credit is due. This is a very American house. I'm gonna give that right up. But even so, we see all these like nice modern houses on this street, and it kind of gives a little bit more of a lure spot to this house, because this is a suburban house that you would see in suburbia, but it's very likely that this house was here and then may have had like a couple of neighbors here and there, like sparsely populated, but then as the area had more and more people move in over the years, the housing changed, the architecture in the area changed. And now that this house kind of went up for sale, and now that I've purchased it, so to speak, I'm gonna come in and probably just make it look like the rest of these houses, because that's how it would happen. That's just how it happens. 70s houses generally don't have, I'm gonna say, very much asbestos. The cutoff year is generally 1974. If a house is built before 1974, you generally don't have to have an asbestos specialist to come in and inspect and tear out any asbestos they find. And usually, if it's before, even going back to 70, you generally aren't going to find any. So a lot of times, even if you do bring in a specialist, they don't find it very commonly. I'm not going to say it's impossible to, but after 74, use of asbestos in building code was, it stopped. It just stopped. It was against code. You can't do it anymore. So it's very likely that this house actually has more modern building code adherence to it. So it probably has more modern electric, more modern plumbing. It would really just need to be looked at. Realistically, it would just need to be looked at and just refreshed. And that's why a lot of these houses are perfect flips, quote unquote, is just because they really are. There's not a whole lot that needs to be done with them structurally. You just need to go in, touch up the paint, touch up the wallpaper, replace the paneling as you need to, and usually you're good. So that's going to be all for this episode. Have a good one, my dudes. Cheers.